Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. We're here now reflecting on verse 128 of chapter 9 of Surah At-Tawbah. So 128 of chapter 9. And this is wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in a very particular way. So he says, subhanahu, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ عَزِيزٌ عَلَيْهِ مَا عَنِتُّمْ حَرِيصٌ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. So he says, a messenger has come to you. Certainly a messenger has come to you from amongst yourselves. It is difficult upon him to see the hardships that you go through, and he has great concern for you, and he is kind and merciful and compassionate with the believers. So this is a very interesting description of the Prophet ﷺ. And the reason why we wanted to talk about it here, especially in light of the work that we do with the IOK chaplaincy program, is to highlight the idea of pastoral care. Many people in our community, they don't really understand what does it mean to be a chaplain. What does a chaplain do? And a lot of the times the way that this is discussed in the interfaith circles and in the areas where people do this work is that it's said that a chaplain does pastoral care. And when we look at that, we see, this is a term, pastoral care, that comes mostly from the Judeo-Christian tradition, but it's a shared prophetic tradition that we also believe in. Because pastoral care is coming from the idea of someone being a pastor, which relates to shepherding. The idea that the person takes care of their flock. They're a shepherd over their flock. And of course we have in the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that he told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not sent a messenger except that he sent them as a shepherd. They worked as a shepherd at some point in their life. And that in that process of working as a shepherd, they learned certain skills of concern, of being empathizing, of taking care of others, of being patient, of getting used to isolation and solitude and so on. Different qualities that the person will need then later on in their capacity as a messenger, calling people to God. And so in this verse we see a particular description of the Prophet ﷺ, who is the exemplar of what it means to do pastoral care. Obviously, when we talk about chaplaincy, we talk about being an imam, we talk about calling people to Allah, whatever it is, in the end, whatever title we give it, we're trying to convey a little bit of the way of the Prophet ﷺ. The verse starts by saying, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. Last time we talked about the importance of the idea of the Prophet ﷺ coming from amongst the people who he was sent to. And so we won't have to go there again. But one of the other things that's in the verse is Allah is telling them, a messenger has come to you. Meaning that he has come to you, and he's the one delivering this message to you. And part of what's important there is recognizing that this is a blessing. And this is a blessing that one has to be grateful for. To receive the message of Islam, to have access to the teachings of the Quran, to have access to the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. This is absolutely essential and one of the greatest blessings that we can possibly have. And of course, in having blessings, it's important that we act with gratitude in relation to them, such that we can hold them tight to us. Ibn Ata'ala, secondary, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, مَنْ لَمْ يَشْكُرِ النِّعْمَةِ فَقَدْ تَعَرَّضَ لِزَوَالِهَا وَمَنْ شَكَرَهَا فَقَدْ قَيَّدَهَا بِإِقَالِهَا. He said, the one who is not grateful for their blessings, then they have exposed them to be gone, to go away. And the one who is grateful for them and has shown gratitude for them, then they have tied them up by their reins, meaning they're not going to go anywhere. So recognizing that the Prophet ﷺ and being able to have a relationship with him and to know him in our lives is one of the greatest blessings that we can possibly imagine. The other things that come up here is that the Prophet ﷺ is described as it causes him difficulty to see the things that you go through. Azizun alayhi ma anittum. Those things that have caused you hardship, the people, those things that have caused you hardship, they're hard on him. He's able to empathize with the believers. This is a very important quality for all of us to embody with one another. Part of the way of the Prophet ﷺ is to empathize, is to understand what is the person going through, to feel along with them, to be, as he describes ﷺ, that the believers are a body, that if one part is ill and it's aching, then the rest of it is hurting as well. So to empathize in that way. The second thing that's mentioned is that he has concern for their well-being. Harisun alaykum. He has concern for you. Not only is the pain there, not only is the relating there, but he wants what's best. So much so that he's going to put himself through hardships, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, unimaginable hardships, such that he can deliver the message to the people who are in need of it. And then the end of the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam as being Ra'ufun Rahim, that he is kind and he is compassionate. He feels the issues of the Muslims, he has kindness towards them, he has compassion towards them, and he treats them nicely. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to embody this. Ameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslima kathira walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.